Welcome back to Poplar Preparedness. We are doing a midweek food shortage update, review particularly of the Walmart stores where we're seeing the food shortage the most acute. So as we see some of these holes get filled on the shelves, we're seeing other holes open, and sometimes they're being filled not with the product that went out, but rather with other product. I am seeing the Walmarts in my area are shifting their shelves, shifting the floor plans, moving products around. It's starting to get me a little dizzy. I'm having a hard time keeping track of where things were, but I keep staring at a shelf and going, wait a minute, wasn't this where X was? And it's not there anymore. And then when I look for it, it just isn't there anymore. It's just gone. If I hadn't been actively looking for it every week, I wouldn't be knowing that it's supposed to be there. Also seeing other products just start getting stretched out, as you'll see in some of these pictures. Just some odd things happening. They're working really, really hard to keep people from seeing the shortages. I got to hand it to those guys. Those guys and gals really know what they're doing. If I wasn't actively looking for these things, I might not see them. So we're seeing the same kind of things. In the dairy section, we're seeing the similar holes. Cream cheese, yogurt's always stretched. It's hit or miss whether eggs are there. Milk, at least here in Pennsylvania, is still sort of there, but definitely thinner than it usually is. Canned things are doing the worst right now, and when we start looking at some of the products like flour and sugar and cooking oil, they do seem to be doing a little bit better right now, but was that just a restock? I don't know. Frozen foods generally are about the same, but frozen potatoes seem to be doing a little better. Vegetables, okay. But let's get straight to the pictures because that's what you're looking here for, okay? All right, let's start over here in the non-food section, but with the food products. So this whole shelf you're looking at here, this whole shelf here did not have those protein bars on it before. This whole left-hand shelf all the way up was actually protein drinks before. They were having issues there before. I've taken pictures of that before, but now they've just replaced it with other things that are sort of similar. But you see the protein shakes are pushed all the way down the bottom shelf, and those are sparse to say the least, right? So it just they're not getting those drinks in. Cat food section, a little bit better. I don't know how it could have gotten worse since it was completely empty last couple times I saw it. So there's a few cans on there. I don't know if that's just because they just restocked it or what, but there's a few cans. Dry cat food. There's holes, but there's some there. Hopefully your cat is flexible in what they eat. I've never heard any cats being flexible in what they eat, but okay. Dry dog food. It's a little sparser than what I've seen before. It's actually a little bit worse. Canned dog food. It's getting pulled down. It's not nearly to the extent of the cat food, but it's been a bit of a struggle there too. But that's kind of par for the course. Spray paint. Spray paint is definitely very sparse, very sparse. You can have white or you can have black of one brand, or you can have like pink or gray. Hopefully your project doesn't have any other plans. Shoe section. Eek. Picked over. Very picked over. A bunch of these shoes that you're seeing are like single shoes that are by themselves. Normally you have a kind of shoe and then you have like a bunch of different sizes for it. Now it's like if you have a kind of shoe, you only have like 3 or 4 sizes to choose from. That's like what was going on in Russia before, remember? So this whole bin in front of me was just empty. It said that these were for chicken, drumsticks, it said, and, just nothing in them. I don't know if that was just they're moving stock around, but it was pretty glaring. It's right on the main thoroughfare. And they still had tags on them. So there's the yogurt section in the back there. It doesn't look nearly as bad as it has occasionally, so take that for what it's worth. The cream cheese, I couldn't get a picture of it. Cream cheese looked pretty bad again. There were still a few kinds if you're willing to be flexible on your brand and kind of cream cheese, but the blocks were gone. Charmin toilet paper. These right here were the only Charmin toilet paper right there. These pallets right here were supposed to be Charmin toilet paper, and once again, these here's a couple of blocks of Charmin there too, and then this one wasn't supposed to be there, but it got there anyway. And then you have a couple, other brands of toilet paper, but not other Charmins. And then this is just a further, if I was walking backwards a little bit, they had moved all the paper towels down the aisle so that there's these 2 bays just completely empty, just nothing on them. They were stocking over the toilet paper, like above the toilet paper up here. There was lots of paper towels. Like as if they were overstock for the toilet paper, but they were actually paper towels. They just moved them over there to make it look like there's more toilet paper. Okay, so instant oats and Quaker Oats, they've been sparse for a while. Again, that's just par for the course. Just taking a picture of it because I haven't for a while, but it's pretty much the same old. Canned fruit section. There's fruit there. Just your selection and the amount there is less. Okay, look at this. I have never seen salt take up so much space before. They just basically pushed a bunch of other products out of the way and just made this massive line of salt all along the bottom of the shelf. And if I wasn't looking for salt to make sure that we're not running out of salt, because some of you guys keep mentioning that, I wouldn't have noticed that the salt section just suddenly got really, really big. But it has. I'm not sure what they're compensating for, but something. Okay, so ramen noodles are on the shelf somewhat. But look how those are stacked. Do you really believe that people reached all the way into the back and grabbed the back ones and left those front ones where they were? I'm sorry, that's not what shoppers do. Shoppers take the ones in the front. So just the way they're stacked there kind of tells me that they only, when they put the last batch on there, they didn't put all that many. They maybe put 2 rows there. They didn't go, so like this is probably maybe put like 8 or 9 on there at most. But then they just kind of left gaps in between them. Because apparently that's what they had on stock. I don't know if that's just a matter of that's how many could fit on their cart or what. A lot of people keep saying, well, there's reasons for the shortage. It's labor shortage. It's this shortage. It's this reason. Oh, they have the product. It's just this and it's just that. Well, it doesn't really matter what it is. If the food's not getting to the shelf, does it really matter what the reason is? Unless they can fix it in the near term. If it's labor and they're actually having more and more problems with labor, well, then the food shortages are going to get worse and worse, right? That's how it works. It doesn't matter if the factory is cranking out 1 million boxes. If it doesn't get to the shelf, you still can't buy it unless you're going to go drive to the factory somehow and get some. So I'm not so concerned with why. I mean, why is an interesting question, but it's not important, really. So when it comes to pasta, suddenly saw the Great Value brand boxed pasta just exploded in size. Just look at all that. I don't know where they got it all, but it takes up a whole lot of space. And in the pasta area, it makes it look a lot nicer, but it's not the same, I don't think. So that's what I'm seeing here with the pasta. Olives keep shrinking. They're losing more and more shelf space, and the shelf space they have, they can't even keep stocked. Olives are an endangered species. Rice, again, they are bringing in other brands that we're not used to seeing. A couple commenters did point out that they did recognize those brands from over at Sam's Club. So it looks like they may be pulling that product off of the Sam's Club shelves and stocking them over on the Walmart shelves. So that seems to be maybe a thing. But it does mean that there's rice on the shelves, maybe higher quality, maybe a little more expensive, but rice nonetheless. This whole bottom shelf last week was full of canned chicken. All the way. The whole section that you're looking down there at the bottom shelf was canned chicken. And then actually, even where that manwich was, that was canned chicken too. And that canned chicken either wasn't restocked and a whole bunch of people bought a whole bunch or something. There were some roast beef cans, and there was even some Keystone beef there. So I did grab a couple of GV roast beef cans just because I could. The Keystone beef is a lot more expensive than it used to be. Okay, so this whole chip section right here, these pork rinds, this whole section didn't exist last week. This whole section just appeared. Just that kind of stuff happening all over the store, where they're just carving out a whole bunch of space and just putting in some random product in there that they have a bunch of extra of. Potatoes, frozen potatoes looked better, so there's that. Frozen vegetables, frozen fruit seem to be a little bit better stocked, but there's not all that much frozen fruit there. That was the whole frozen fruit section. Those two bottom rows on the bottom right, that was all the frozen fruit they had. So once again, they're just expanding. The frozen vegetables seem to be taking up more space, but yet they can't keep them stocked. So as someone else pointed out, they tend to leave the boxes in. Once the product is emptied out, they'll leave the box in there, and someone speculated that was because it made it look like there was more stuff in there. It wasn't just empty because there's a box there. So that's what I'm seeing out here. Please leave in the comments below reports that you have from your area. There is a subscriber report coming out tomorrow, and I will put that out, and you guys have a great day. Adios.